Madam Web just got released. I know everybody was so excited for this film. Let's find out my thoughts. Got a chance to see it. Let's check it out right now. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for spending Valentine's Day with me. In fact, when this is probably coming out, this is probably the day after Valentine's Day. I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day with your loved ones. I did get a chance to go see Madam Web tonight, and let me just tell you that there was nobody in the theater. It definitely was not a date night movie. But before we get into it, please give me a like and subscribe if you can. I am trying to grow the channel out. Uh, I am your host, Frank Zanka, an award winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, and hopefully a line producer back into work soon. I hope there's not another strike. IATSE's supposed to strike, which is like the crew thing. So I'm just hoping. Yeah. So let's see what happens. All right, so let's jump into it. Before we do, also, I also have, if you want to check out anything that I've written, of course, I'm on Amazon, but Lords of LA, my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood, is available now on Indiegogo. I'm also going to probably put a link in there. I think it just launched today. This is all late pledge because it already did fund on Kickstarter. I have about 10 pages I still have to get done. So if you can help me out there, it's got 48 pages, full color. And again, it's a vampire mob set in 1950s. I do sign them, and I will be retiring some of the covers by the time this ends as well. But the link is in the description below, or you can just go to Indiegogo and type in Lords of LA. All right, thank you very much, and if you can support, please do. All right, so let's talk about Madam Web. So this was a movie from Sony. It's a Marvel movie, but it's Sony. So it's their Spider-Verse, but for some reason they decided that they weren't going to put Spider-Man anywhere near it, or any real connection to him. Instead, we were going to do this character called Madam Web, and we were going to do, which is in the comics, she is an older blind woman who helps him out from time to time with bouts of philosophy or whatever. She can see the future, but of course doesn't only gives him snippets when required. So this was starring Dakota Johnson, which of course is Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson's daughter. She is from 50 Shades of Grey. That's her biggest claim to fame. So she is a decent actress. I can't say that she's poor, but do I think that she could pull this role? It was a give and take. Sydney Sweeney comes in as Julia Carpenter, which is one of the Spider Women. Her character was really created in 1984 for Secret Wars. She's been around for a while. You had Isabella Marced. Of course, Sydney Sweeney's from Euphoria and Anyone But You, and she's done a pile of things now. These women are supposed to be playing 15-year-olds. They probably could have got away with 19, but 15 is just no way. There was no way they were getting away with that kind of teenage. So Isabella Marced, who I'm a big fan of, I think she is a great talent. She is from Dora the Explorer, and you can laugh at that all you want, but I did laugh at that movie. She was from Instant Family. She's done just a pile of stuff. She's just really good. And the more I see her on screen, the more of a fan I am of her. Again, she cannot pull a 15-year-old. She plays Anya Corazon, which is also a Spider-Girl / Spider-Woman. And she was first created in the early 2000s. I think it's like 2003, something to that effect. It may have been Mike Zeck. I'm not sure. that created her. And then you had Celeste O'Connor. The only credit I saw with her was Afterlife from Ghostbusters, which she was decent in. And she plays Maddie Franklin. She is a race swapped character. Why they gave her a fro at the end, it kind of dated it back. I don't know why they did that. She didn't have a fro throughout the entire film, and then in the costume they gave her a fro. It was just weird. So yeah, so that's your main character, and then for some reason, Emma Roberts was in this movie. I don't understand. I do not understand why. Why was Emma Roberts? Why did she take that role? So I don't understand the whole concept of this film. That the whole concept has really thrown me, and I've been trying to figure it out. So it is basically Terminator, right? Where you have Dakota Johnson's character, which is Cassie Webb. She is playing Sarah Connor without a gun. And I don't understand why they would go about doing this. So they market it like a superhero movie that has no superheroes in it. And I'm going to do some mild spoilers. It's really plot points more than it is spoilers. So I'm not going to give away the film. I'm just going to go through the plot of the film. So you have these three women that she is a medic. Now, yeah, she's a medic on an ambulance for the fire department, which is kind of what my brother does. So, but it takes place in 2003. Okay, so for the cell phones aren't like they are now. Plus, there's I forgot the woman's name that's in it. That's also in Maddie and whatever's future or whatever. So she has two movies out right now. It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of problems with this film. Just a lot of problems. The director is a TV director, but she has a long line of credits. I don't. The problem with this is not the acting and it's not the directing. So it's S.J. Clarkson is the director. And let's look at this from a filmmaking point of view. Okay. So we have this film that Sony has the rights to Spider-Man, right? He has all they have all the ancillary characters around Spider-Man. So for some reason, they decided that they were going to do an all-female cast without Spider-Man, and they were going to try to market it like a superhero movie, even though it wasn't. It's just very strange to me. So she's done Succession, she's done The Defenders, so she's she's done Marvel stuff before. She did Jessica Jones, Hostages, which is a very good film. Bates Motel, U-Turn. I mean, yeah, I can't really fault her. She knows what she's doing. I just can't understand, why she would not put up a fight over this film. Now, here's the problem. Okay, let's talk about the two directors, okay? Because they've been together forever. Everything they've written together. And this is Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless, okay, which is, my name was Sharpless, I would change my fucking name. But anyway, so let's say you're a producer, right? And you're about to do this Sony movie that has, I'm just going to throw a number out there, 60 or 70 million. I don't know if this thing hit 100 million, but it's at least a 60 to 70 million dollar film, right? And you need writers for this thing, right? And you bring on these guys, and this is where you're going to laugh, all right? If you don't laugh, you don't know these films. So here is their entire writing credits, okay? Are you ready? Dracula Untold, The Last Witch Hunter, Gods of Egypt, Power Rangers, Lost in Space, and Morbius. Every single one of those movies, every single one of them has lost money. Every single one. And not to mention, the last movie that they did was Morbius. And well, the Lost in Space is the TV show, and that had its own problems, man. It started out okay and it went to crap. But let's get off Lost in Space. Let's talk about Morbius, which is the last film they did for Sony that lost its ass and was laughed at continuously. Laughed at. Now this movie is better than Morbius. It's also better than Argyle. All right, so and I think that was mostly due to the actors and the directing. The editing, okay, so the editing, some of the editing is good. Like the editing that they did for her flashbacks, I thought was very, and I don't know if that was some of that was CGI, probably was, but either way, the editor and the CGI guy had to work together. And uh, they did a good job with some of that interaction of the effects and the with her having her visions. I thought that some of that was good. The audio editing. Oh my god, the audio editing was horrendous. Oh, I've never ever seen audio editing as poor as I saw in this film. The ADR was so okay. I said ADR. I did without explaining it. So ADR is automatic dialogue replacement. Okay, so what it is, I'm sure you guys have seen this before. They play in a loop the performance, and the actor has to match the voice. Okay, and match the lips. Poor ADR is what you see in this film. The mouths are not matching at all. In some places, you're like, what am I watching here? Am I watching a dubbed film? What am I watching? Oh my God. You cannot unsee it once you see it. And then you're looking for it. After you see it the first time, you're looking for it and you find it in other places. Okay, so let's jump into now. These writers did absolutely no research whatsoever. I don't know if they've ever even read a Marvel comic. So you have these three characters. Why did it have to be all female? There was absolutely no reason for it to be all female. You had Miles Morales, you couldn't put in there. I know the timing would be off, but these characters' timings are already off. You could have put Miles Morales as one of these characters and have it more diverse. Having a whole bunch of women is not diversity. Okay? It's not. It's all the same. So we have these three women, and then you have Cassie's character, who is a paramedic. And then you have Adam Scott, that's her partner, and he is Ben. I didn't even notice this until later. He is Ben Parker, which is the uncle to Peter Parker. And then you have Mary Parker, which is Emma Roberts, which I still have no idea why she's in this film. And she's pregnant through this thing with Peter. Why the connection? We don't need it. There was no reason to put that in there at all. Then you have this other character, Ezekiel Sim or whatever, who is dressed like Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man doesn't exist yet. And then we have these spider-type characters in the very beginning in the Amazon, and the special effects are bad. Oh my God, the way they move and everything was just bad. It was awful. I don't even understand this. And so she's going after, which is Cassie's mother, is in the Amazon. She's going after a spider, which then Ezekiel ends up stealing, and the thing gives him powers. So I guess this spider gives everybody powers. It's just not thought out well. It doesn't make any sense. All of these characters in the comics have different origins, and none of them have to do with anything with getting bit by a spider. Just saying. So we have all these characters now that have no powers throughout the entire film. All Ezekiel sees, he sees something in the future, so he kills Cassie's mother. I'm talking about the first 5 minutes, so I'm not really ruining anything. But we find out later why she was in the Amazon while she was pregnant. And I thought that scene was pretty good, and the reasoning behind it was pretty good. I won't go into it because I think that would be a spoiler. So, but Ezekiel's whole deal is that he sees these three arachnid women kill him. So these three women you're setting up to be superheroes who murder someone. That is the basis for being a superhero, is that you do not kill. Oh my God, it's so bad. The plot is awful, awful. So instead of saying, okay, we're going to set up an origin, this is not even an origin story. We never even see them get their powers. The only time they have their powers is in a flash forward. That's it. So it's not an origin story for these characters. It's nothing. It's a Terminator film. That is what this is. It's an origin story for Madame Web, but it's not an origin story for anybody else in the film. Not any of the other heroes. And they're the most interesting things. The Madame Web character is not that interesting. So she can see the future. So what? You know, it doesn't really go anywhere. And it would have been better to have an origin story for one of the arachnid characters. And that would have been a lot better, where maybe he was trying to stop her from getting her powers, and then she gets her powers. We get to learn about her, which they could have used both either Anya, if they wanted to go without a white girl, they could have, and I would have preferred that anyway, because again, Isabella, I think, is an amazing, amazing talent. I would have been all in for that. So we could have seen Anya become Spider Girl at that time. But again, that would have been off from anything that Tom Holland is doing now, because he's not anywhere near 2003. Not to mention the fact that even in the storyline, either one of these characters came after Spider-Man, right? So, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker, he's in the womb right now, so nothing matches. It's not going to match at all. So, plus they didn't do any research at all on this stuff, because she steals both a taxi cab and a ambulance. And even in 2003, those things have LoJacks on them. They had LoJacks on them in 2003. They never did they pick up. She ended up spending the night in a hotel or whatever else with the taxi cab parked out front. There's no way. Plus, I'm pretty sure the taxi cabs have screws that keep the license plate on. She pops the thing off and just happens to find a tool to do it. Plus she smashes through a diner with the car. I think that's in the trailer. It doesn't make any sense. The cops were nowhere to be found in this entire thing except for the very beginning, where she's with the girls. That's it. When all hell starts breaking loose, there's no cops around. And you're in New York. You're in New York. They haven't defunded the police yet in 2003. I did not hate the film. I was not bored by the film. There was just some very cringy moments. There's some roll your eyes where it's obvious that they didn't do any research with this thing, and I can't believe this thing got in the last draft. That kind of stuff. And of course, some of the effects, and the ADR. It's just bad. So it's a missed opportunity film. It is a disappointing film because it had some elements that you could have done a decent film out of, but every opportunity they had to make a decent film out of it, they dropped the ball. And you can't make a superhero film out of an origin story for a woman that becomes blind and has, the ability to see the future. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. Plus, you have a villain that's dressed like Spider-Man who doesn't even get his costume for another 20 something, 20 years. It doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. And again, that's why I'm saying these guys didn't. Now, I don't think ever read a comic. They said, "Oh, here's a female arachnid character. Here's a female arachnid character. We'll just put them all together." What? Now we got a spider army, and what? They're all, in their 40s when Spider-Man's around. Doesn't make any sense, man. It doesn't fit continuity-wise. It doesn't fit into anything. You're better off making, and I like Dakota Johnson. This is not going to make her break her career in any way. I just saw a trailer for her with Sean Penn, and she's with a blonde. So it's not going to make or break her career at all. So you probably should have just made Madam Web older and, have Spider-Girl and do one Spider-Girl, have her get her powers. She can fight the villain, and with the help of Madam Web, and, we introduce, we see Tom Holland Spider-Man somewhere at the very end or something to that effect. Would have worked fine. But instead, we got this just combobulated, watered down version of a superhero movie that had some entertaining moments, and that was the extent of that. I don't know how the Bob Marley movie is going to do, because I went at like 4 o'clock on a Wednesday here, and it was all sold out, man. It was all sold out. So I think that movie's going to do well. I'm going to see that movie this weekend too, because I know nothing about that character, that guy, and I really want to know more about Bob Marley and his past and everything like that. So I'm definitely going to go see that. But yeah, so I can't recommend this film. If you see it on streaming, yeah, you can sit down and watch it. Like I said, it's entertaining, but you're going to forget about it as soon as you walk away from it. Aside from some of the acting moments and some of the relationship between the girls is cute, but that's about the extent of it. The Madam Web costume at the end is god awful, man. God awful. She's got these old lady glasses on. Oh my God, it's just bad. They were better off putting the blindfold on her like it was in the comics. Just bad. I think the best costume and closest one was Julia Carpenter's costume, which is Sydney Sweeney's costume. I think that was the closest to the comic that you're going to get. All right, well, that's it for me. I think I've bashed this film enough. There is no post-credit scene, so don't worry about it. Just get up and run out the door. All right, thank you guys so much for keeping track of what I'm doing here on the channel. Thank you for spending, I guess, day after Valentine's Day with me. Remember that Lords of LA is on Indiegogo right now. The link is below. If you can help me out with that, that would be amazing. Plus, Mark Spears and I are working on our classic Monsters card game. And I'm working diligently to start finishing that up. Of course, it is Chinese New Year right now, and my manufacturer is closed. So I'm on hold for that. So I'm trying to finish up the rule book and things like that while they're closed. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about bringing that to everybody. Check out some other videos here that end after this one ends. There'll be other ones that'll pop up. Check those out. Give me a like and subscribe if you can. And I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great week.